Su trabajo en jazz y cantos, ¿cómo se llama?
En arábico.
Arábicos, eso, exactamente. Gracias.
Gracias. Thank you so much, and thank you so much to Semas and Rodrigo and Francisco and Tonali for inviting me here. So I'm Sophie Tassignon, but you already heard everything. I'm a Belgian jazz singer living in Berlin. And I want to share with you today some of the challenges I faced when I worked on Arabic poems with my contemporary jazz vocabulary. And in order to explain this, I need to show you a little bit how I came to learn Arabic, because it is through this experience that I came to very fascinating discoveries about how I could merge those two seemingly unrelated expressive forms. So as Francisco easy said, I released a bunch of albums as a leader, actually 11, and as a co-leader on various labels. And my latest album, Khyal, is a juxtaposition of Arabic lyrics with jazz music. And it was released on RareNoise Records last fall. Now, you may have met some Belgians in your life, and they may have tried to explain to you the language situation. What is your national language? Is it Belgian? No, we have French, Flemish, which is actually a Dutch dialect, and a German that only a few people speak in the East. It's all very complicated for this little country, but basically when you meet somebody when you meet a Belgian that doesn't live in Belgium, that lives abroad, they're going to probably speak 4 languages or 3. So it's not surprising that I'm always interested in learning other languages, and so that I can connect with the culture, because it is kind of in our DNA. Now, I'm not there yet for Spanish, but it's going to come maybe. Not yet, exactly. So I would like to share with you how I came to learn Arabic, because the way I came to learn it played a crucial role in my decision to center Arabic language in my compositional practice, and I've been doing that for the last several years. So it all started in 2015. I was sitting on a plane, and I opened the newspaper, and then I saw a photo that became very famous around the world. It was a little boy lying on the shore of a beach in Greece. He hadn't made it, and this touches me always. It broke my heart, it broke all of our hearts. And I came back to Berlin, and I thought, we have to do something, all of us as a community. And I heard of somebody in Belgium, actually my piano tuner from Belgium, he wrote a post on Facebook saying, 600 refugees are coming to Tournai, this little town where he lives, in 3 weeks. We need 600 people to welcome them. And I thought, how amazing that is. One person for one person, you know. So I looked for the same sort of organization. I didn't find it, but I went to the refugee camp around the corner, and I thought, I'm going to go and see what I can do. So I served food, and I thought that way I can get to know some people and then find the one I was going to help for everything, like going to the doctors, finding a new place in Berlin. It's crazy. So all the papers, starting to speak German as much as possible. So I found Mohammed, who's now an engineer, and he helped me a little bit with learning Arabic, because I thought they have to integrate. Well, maybe we can also integrate. There are 1 million people from Syria in Germany. Why not take this as an opportunity to understand the country and the culture from inside? Because all I had from the Arabic culture was, they are Muslim, and then tons of preconceived ideas and judgments. So I decided to really embrace this discovery, and to really try to learn the language as much as I could, you know, not being a child. So of course it was not easy, and I didn't have time to really, you know, study it 8 hours a day. I just, you know, did what I could on the metro. But I took lessons, and after a few years, talking with them and inviting them to my concerts, my friend Mohammed says, you know, Sophie, I don't really like your music because it's not what I grew up with, you know, jazz music and contemporary stuff. It's so weird. And and he said, you know, we don't really like the Western music, even pop, except for Celine Dion. They like that for some reason, you know, Titanic. But they grew up with a totally different vocabulary. So I thought, okay. But I was still confused because I liked their music, what they showed me. I opened up to it. And then he said, yeah, but I don't understand the lyrics. And I noticed that they could sing all their lyrics. They would sing all the lyrics with the song. And I was always bad at that. I didn't care. I was just humming the melody with some sort of parts of the lyrics, you know, Billie Jean is, you know. And so I thought, okay, for them, language is really important. But for me, if I listen to a song, for example, in Farsi, which I don't understand, I feel there's still a vibe to this language. There's a vibe to each language, and it touches an aspect of appreciation that is related to the fact that I'm catapulted into a culture that is not mine. And I find this is an aspect to music that brings us something different than listening to something from our own culture, in our own language, but not even only. So that was really interesting, and that's where I thought, okay, I'm going to write some songs of mine with my vocabulary with Arabic lyrics. And I went for a hunt for a poet. I met a Syrian poet, Mohammed Malak, who was wonderful, and he gave me 4 poems. And he couldn't speak English well at all. So our communication was very basic. He gave me the first poem. He told me vaguely what it meant. And I thought, that's okay. I'm just going to let him record it. I'm going to hear it 1,000,000 times. I'm going to figure out the words, and I'm going to write a song. Okay, so he recorded it for me, and this is what I heard.
ما كنت فكر إنك تخون الهوى والقلب من شهد السعادة مرتوى سهران وحدي هون بليل النوى أحلم لوحدي بليالي ترجع. Okay,
this is the beginning of this really, really long poem. And I thought, all right, how am I going to do this? So I tried to, because you can't really decipher the details of a language like Arabic in such a recording. But I sat on it, and I decided to write a piece of paper with X's and dashes for downbeats and, for accentuated syllables and non-accentuated syllables. And so this is what it was. I had a whole piece of paper with that. And then I thought, well, I can't just, how can I write a piece that's sung? I need lyrics. So I wrote down some English words, because that would inspire me, that were a little bit poetry-like, but that didn't mean anything. So I had like, never again, the moon so far, and I had a whole sheet with those words. And then I managed to write this song. And then I put back the Arabic syllables, but as well as I could with what I heard underneath. And then I went to the poet and I was like, I did it, it worked. And then I played it to him and he was like, no, you have 1,000,000 mistakes. I was like, what? I spent 3 months on this. And so what were the mistakes? Because I sing what I write, I like to also improvise with certain vowels, which we do in English and in jazz music in general. The last part of a sentence, we can do whatever we want, which is not possible with a short vowel in Arabic. There's no way, you're not allowed. It's just no. Then there are doublings of consonants that I didn't decipher in the recording, and I didn't realize there was a real difference because my ear was not trained. And then there was accentuations of syllables that were not on downbeats that I had heard on downbeats. Basically, that was very interesting to me in the process. But the thing with the rhythm too, in English, nobody's going to care if you place a downbeat on a non-accentuated syllable. For example, Stevie Wonder, Isn't She Lovely? You probably know the song. Here, so making one as love, making, so I never thought true love would be making one as lovely as she, you know? That's not how you say it. You say as lovely as she in proper English. But Stevie Wonder didn't care, and nobody cared. And this is not possible in Arabic. Now, the other issue I had was writing down the lyrics underneath the notes. Arabic is written from right to left. Music is written from left to right. So I thought, how do they do it? I guess it's all oral. It's quite fascinating. I haven't researched that. It would be interesting. But so I thought, okay, how am I going to put this so that maybe even the musicians can kind of follow, but also for me to practice, to remember it. You know, if I leave the piece for a year, I should be able to go back to it. So I decided to use the alphabets that I know, because I speak Russian, I speak German, I speak a bunch of languages, so I can pick from whatever language I have, and I also use the omega, for example, from Greek, which I don't speak, but I thought the omega, this is just part of the list of sounds, because in Arabic you have two T's, you have two S's, you know, you have a soft and a, so S or son, T or ta, and Ch, Je, I mean, so in various languages you can pick, you have those sounds. Like for example, in Russian you have je, you have ch, but not, you don't have a letter for that in French or in English. So then it became this, more or less. And I used the little things from phonetics that I remembered from learning Russian, where you elongate a vowel with two dots on the right. So yeah, and also I use numbers because Arabic people, when they chat with an English phone, I mean, the Lebanese speak English very fluently and French, so they chat with the English alphabet, but they know the words, so they will use the English T for either of the T's, and they know which one it is because they are native, which I am not, so... but they also use these numbers. So 2 is q, 3 is ayn, and 8 is r, and 7 is h. The h in the merhaba, for example, that's the H in the back of the throat versus h, which is a soft mohom. It's mohom, that's a soft h, merhaba. Okay, so I love this stuff, you know. Just so excited. So, so this little beginning of the poem that you heard, I'm going to show what it became. It's a very, very simple, traditional jazz way of composing. Nothing special. So, oh yeah, right. I have to put the sound on.
ما كنت فكر إنك تخون الهوى والقلب من شهد سعادة مرتوى سهران وحدي هون بليل النوى أحلم لوحدي بليالي ترجاك.
So you see what this poem became. Now in the Arabic world there are many different dialects. It's insane. So I started with Mohammed from my refugee camp with his accent from Aleppo. It's not the most elegant one. And so 2 years later, when I told him, I want to sing these songs in Arabic, first he said, but Sophie, you're not Arabic, you're never going to make that. It's never going to work. and then he told me, and you can't sing in the Syrian accent. You have to sing with the Lebanese accent, because that's the most elegant one. You know, Fayrouz, she sings with the Lebanese accent. This is really the most beautiful one. And so I thought, what? How am I going to change? Because it's very slight changes in the vowels, mainly. Yeah, it's not much. So you have to... So embereh, for example, is yesterday in Lebanese, embereh. And in Syrian, it's embareh. Embareh, embeirah. So it's really close. And so every word has, I mean, a lot of words have to be changed that way. So, yeah, but I thought, okay, like take English, for example. We all sing, I mean, we Europeans, we sing in English, but what if I had learned the accent from Texas? I shouldn't sing in that accent, right? Not so nice. So I decided to find a Lebanese teacher, and for 2 years we worked like crazy on this pronunciation of the 8 songs I was going to record, because it was really important to me to have that on the record. For spoken language, I don't care if I mix or something, but there it was important. And so this is Everybody Knows, the first song of my album, where you can hear the Arabic language more floating on top of these textures. So really Western style of writing in Arabic.
خطوي بعد الثاني.
So I was loud, these are long vowels.
بتودي صوب ليل البعيد، بتخبي اللحظة ورا التاني. كل الأفكار بيصيروا جليد.
So then after I recorded everything, I went to Dubai and I met the General Embassy, a woman in charge of the culture department of the German embassy there, and she asked me to write a song with the lyrics of an Emirati poet. Her name is Ousha Bint Khalifa, and she was really famous there. And I thought, that's great, a woman, wonderful, let's go find a book with her poems and start the new work with somebody I don't know, somebody with also a different accent from the Bedouins. But I thought, it's okay, I'll find people who help me pronounce that kind of dialect. And I could find a book of hers in the Museum of Women in Dubai. I was like, wow, they have a museum for women, wonderful. There were only 3 in there. But a picture of the Sheikh Mohammed inaugurating his museum of women, because he's so open now and wants to show the change. So then I found this poem, which has a very traditional Arabic rhythm. So I'm going to read the beginning to you, so you can really hear. That has nothing to do with what Mohammed Malak wrote or my own poetry, which was translated into Arabic. So مرحبا يا سيدي ساداتي الحبيب اللي يسليني حي انسي حي راحاتي لي يزعلني ويرضيني يا غرام المغرم اشتاتي منك لو بالوصل تحيني وانت حبي وانت مهواتي وانت اللي زينك على زيني. So what did I do in order to achieve writing music with this language? So I had to choose a dialect at first and stick to it. And then I had to do a syllable by syllable process where I tested each syllable and learned how flexible I could be with my interpretation musically. And then I developed my phonetic notation system so that I could remember it and practice it. And then I could go to the composing process. So once I had internalized the exact pronunciation of the text, it really takes time. Then I could start the creative process and let it grow into whatever felt right. So I wrote this piece. I wrote it with chords and melodies, and then I played it in different versions. Also, one version with Kevin on guitar, very acoustically, but. So I created this electroacoustic piece for voice, piano, and Electroacoustic Sounds, which should be released next year. And that will be the end of my presentation. So here you hear the beginning of Merhaba.
مرحبا يا سيد ساداتي يا الحبيب اللي يسليني هاي انسي حيراتي اللي يزعلني ويرضيني يا غرام المغرم اشتاتي من كلوب الوصل تحيني وانت حبي وانت محواتي وانت اللي زينك على زيني.
Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias.